So to celebrate Earth Day this year, I want to do a series on Earth Care and want to encourage all of us to become more mindful. This is so important. There's no doubt in the world that we are at a point of ecological crisis that's going to require a complete change in consciousness for us as human beings. So I want to focus on that. I want to talk about what the problem is. I want to talk about how we can make a difference, not necessarily save the planet, mind you, but how we can do what we can do and how we can shift at a consciousness level, at an attitude level, to the point where whether we do small things, lifestyle things, or whether we get involved in a large way as an eco-activist in a policy level, either way, we can do what we can do. Now, I want to start with a simple idea. An anagram of the word earth is heart. Now, whether it's small ways or large ways, all of us need to approach this issue with heart. And that's the essence of what this series is going to be all about. Now, when it comes to the destruction of the planet, there are lots of excuses that we use. One of them is denial. There's the old joke, how many climate deniers does it take to change a light bulb? And the answer is none, because there's no problem. There's nothing wrong with the light bulb. The fact that we're in complete darkness and the light bulb is burnt out doesn't prove a thing. So the first problem that we have is the issue of denial, and too many of us have been in denial for too long about the extent of the problem. And when we take to heart the problem, we can't help but do something about it. But there's also another thing that gets in the way of us truly making a difference for the earth, and that is indifference. Now, another joke, how many progressives does it take to change a light bulb? And the answer is also none, because we don't want to offend anyone who actually likes the darkness. We don't want to inconvenience anyone. We don't want to end up in conflict. I want to challenge that idea. If we truly see the extent of the problem, if we have a heart for the earth, if we feel the suffering of the earth and realize that the suffering of the earth is connected to the suffering of all of us, then indifference is not an appropriate response. We need to approach this with heart, with strength, and be willing to get into conflict, be willing to be unpopular, be willing to be inconvenient in order to see some changes made. Now, as an inspiration here, I want to tell the story of Thoreau, the transcendentalist Thoreau, who, through an act of civil disobedience, was in prison just for a few days. He was objecting to a tax that was being levied for the Mexican War. Now, in jail, his friend Emerson came to visit him, and this is at least how the story goes. That Emerson came to visit and said to Thoreau, "Henry, what are you doing in there?" And Thoreau replied to him, "No, the question is, what are you doing out there?" Now, if you truly understand the extent of the problem, and I've never met anyone who doesn't care at all about the earth, but if you understand the extent of the problem, the question is, what are you going to do about it? How far are you prepared to go? How much are you prepared to sacrifice of your own lifestyle in order to see something change in the world? Now, one of the great eco-activists of our time is Paul Watson, who has a special passion for marine life. I'll say more about that in a later talk. But one of the things that Paul Watson does, he's trained hundreds of people over the last 3 decades to join him as marine activists. And one of the questions he always asks them is, are you prepared to give your life for a whale? If you're not, don't join us. Now, it's a stark question. It's a challenging question. But it's an interesting question to think about. Are you prepared to give your life for certain causes? Is the destruction of the earth one of those causes? Or maybe turn that question around. Are you prepared to truly live for what you believe in? Are you prepared to truly be alive and to give yourself without trying to preserve yourself, without trying to preserve your popularity, without trying to preserve your comfort? Are you truly prepared to live? Because preserving life is not truly living. So the ultimate challenge when it comes to the earth is how far are you prepared to go to truly be alive as an authentic human being who understands that your life is connected to all other life. If you truly have a heart for the earth, then do what you can do.